Hey, Dr. Sil here. I'm a junior doctor in Australia on the psychiatry training program, and I've received a couple of recommendations to do a reaction to Hi Ren. It looks like it's a music video and long song about an individual rapper, singer, guitarist kind of person. And apparently there are some deep themes in the video about mental health and mental illness and the splitting that can occur as a performer. So let's check it out. Okay. Yeah, I like to pause at the start of videos just to get a bit of a start of an impression forming. There's a lot to say about this first impression. We've got the singer, Ren, who's in, it's not a wheelchair, it's a push, kind of trolley chair, I guess, because there's not the big wheels that that a patient could push. So it's for when someone else is pushing a patient. It's for transport. You've got a butcher-looking thing. You've got, I don't know if this is meant to be like an abandoned house, but he's in a hospital gown. So we've got this kind of maybe abandoned asylum with a dodgy lamp. Interestingly, you have the very strong hair light up here that's shooting the kind of shape of the person. But yeah, it's never a good first impression when you've got a butcher with a mask on of some pig pushing what's meant to be, I guess, a patient around. Interesting. I'm noticing that his foot is in a flexed position. So I'm not sure if he's meant to be wheelchair bound, but there's definitely an ability to flex. That doesn't mean he can walk, by the way. It just means that the leg has the ability to flex. I don't know what the strength of that flexion is, but you can see that the heel is actually raised. So unless it's a contracture, he's got tone in his lower limbs that suggests he's got some voluntary control. The other thing is he's leaning forward. And if you lean forward, that means you've got core tone, which means you usually have some leg tone, like power in the legs. So I don't think this guy's paraplegic.
Hi there, Ren. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you know I'm always in periphery. Ren, on your pleased to see me. It's been weeks since we spoke, bro. I know you need me. You're the sheep, I'm the shepherd. Not your place to lead me. Not your place to be biting off the hand that feeds me. Hi, Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself since my therapist told me I'm ill. And I've been making some progress lately. And I've learned some new coping skills. So I haven't really needed you much, man. I think we need to just step back and chill.
I like it a lot already. This is a very powerful song. Some observations. I loved how the introduction has this kind of almost flamenco, smooth, starting scale, and then he plays another kind of scale that sounds like it's out of key almost. I don't know much about music, but it sounds kind of discordant. And then he plays another piece of guitar that's like quite. It just sounds like there's the good guy at the start with a beautiful little guitar intro, and then there's the bad guy who plays the kind of scary intro. Now he's already kind of showing some splitting of his personality here. He's got the kind of nasty, greedy version of himself talking, and then he's got the kind of calm, cool, collected one. Now I think I've seen comments about this being like bipolar or whatever. This doesn't scream to me bipolar, because when you have mania and depression and bipolar, these are episodes that last weeks, right? Mania is something that has to last at least 5 to 7 days, with sleeplessness, restlessness, agitation, disorganization, flight of ideas, rapid speech. The mania is a syndrome that lasts days to weeks, right? And depression, same thing, but opposite symptoms. Here we're seeing splitting within, we're seeing jumping between two kind of personas within the same they're almost competing in real time. They're both there at the same time competing. And that's more like I guess it's kind of like the Freudian ideal of the splitting of a self, with the id, the superego, and the ego ideal. The id being the evil, well, it's not necessarily evil, but the childlike, impulsive, just wants to get the drives met, the sexual drive, the food drive, all that stuff, just wants to get it done. And then the superego is the social norms, the what you think you should be like, the regulator, the I want to be what my parents want me to be. I want to drink tea with my finger up. The superego is the ideal kind of moral conscience, and then the ego itself is what we present to the world. It's the kind of interpretation of those two things. But so far we're seeing Ren is kind of split between these two, an evil and a good. I'm keen to see how he elaborates on it.
You sound more insane than I do. You think that those doctors are really there to guide you? Been through this a million times. Your civilian mind is so perfect to always being lied to. Okay, take another pill, boy. Drown yourself in the sound of white noise. Follow this 10-step program, rejoice. All your problems will be gone. Fucking dumb boy. Nah, mate, this time is different, man. Trust me. I feel like things might be falling in place, and my music's been kinda doing bits too. Like I actually might do something great, and when I'm gone, maybe I'll be remembered for doing something special with myself. That's why I don't think that we should talk, man. Cause when you're with me, it never seems to help. You think that you can amputate me? I am you, you are me, you are I am we are one. Split in two, that makes one. So you see, you gotta kill you if you wanna kill me. I'm not leftover dinner, I'm not scraps on the side. Oh, your music is thriving, delusional guy. Where's your top 10 hit? Where's your interview with Oprah? Where are your Grammys, Ren? Nowhere. Yeah, but my music's not commercial like that. I never chase numbers, statistics or stats. I never write hooks for the radio, they never even play me, so why would I concern myself with that? But my music is really connecting, and the people who find it respect it. And for me that's enough, cause this life's been tough, so it gives me a purpose I can rest in.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the pauses during splits. So in that section, he's talking about, take another pill, man. Talking about the futility of mental health engagement, how you'll never get rid of this evil persona. And interestingly, in personality disorders, where someone has a kind of inner negative voice dragging them down, it is true that voice will be there long term. You can't turn it off. There's no medicine that can just switch off a negative internal voice that leads to unhealthy behaviors. The strategy is around a bit of acceptance, accepting that's part of who you are, and a lot of coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms that are healthy. So sublimation, which is a defense mechanism where you use the anxiety or psychic pain from one thing and use that energy into something else more healthy. So instead of, if your boss says you're a naughty, you're not doing a good job at work, instead of exploding and getting angry at your boss, you use that inner tension and you apply it to something better, like punching a punching bag or doing a workout or going for a jog. That's sublimation. There's a lot of mature defense mechanisms, coping mechanisms out there, and you have to find what works for you. You have to. It's like a gym. It's like a muscle. Sorry, you can't just go to the gym once and be ripped. You have to practice your coping mechanisms. His evil persona it sounds just like self-destructiveness. It doesn't seem like it has a clear goal. It's just wanting to get in the way of things. And people have that inner self-destructiveness, and it usually relates to something in childhood, because that's where our personalities form. But just remember, personalities are also very inheritable. So it's not just upbringing, it's also genetics, and it's very complicated. Anyway, let's keep going.
And you sound so pretentious. Ren, your music is so self-centered. No one wants to hear another song about how much you hate yourself. Trust me. You should be so lucky, having me inside you to guide you, remind you to manage expectations, provide you perspective. That thing you neglected, I get it. You wanna be a big deal, next Jimi Hendrix, forget it.
Man, it's not like that.
Man, it's just like that, I'm inside you, you twat.
No, it's not, man, you're wrong. When I write, I belong.
Let me break the fourth wall by acknowledging this song. Ren sits down, has a stroke of genius. He wants to write a song that was not done previous. A battle with his subconscious, Eminem did it.
Played on guitar.
Plan B did it.
Man, you're not original, you criminal rip-off artist. The pinnacle of your success is stealing other people's material.
Ren, mate, we've heard it all before. She sells seashells on the seashore.
Fuck you, I don't need you, I don't need to hear this. Cause I'm fine by myself, I'm a genius. And I will be great, and I will make waves. And I'll shake up the whole world beneath us.
That's right, speak your truth, your fucking God complex leaks out of you. It's refreshing to actually hear you say it instead of downplay it.
Music is all about the creative process, and if people can find something to relate to within that, then that's just a bonus.
Wow, it's really nice to hear a song that's doing really well about imposter syndrome. like it's almost like breaking the fourth wall, you know, like that he's describing how a lot of his ideas have been done before. I mean, you know, who am I to speak? I'm doing reaction videos, most of them, so I'm not using original content. I'm just reflecting my experience onto someone else's original content. But he's clearly using kind of self-affirmations as a way to kind of bolster himself against this negative part of himself, against this evil side of Ren. But also, I love the dynamics in the camera. Like, you've got the central shot and then the two shots, the kind of good guy and then the good Ren and the bad Ren. And I think that's really nice, simple cinematography. You know, this whole music video wouldn't have cost a lot to make. You know, it's a room, and just good creativity.
I'ma fucking kill you, Ren.
Well, fucking kill me then, let's fucking have you, Ren.
I'ma do it, watch me prove it. Who are you to doubt my music? Cause I call the shots, I choose if you die. Yeah, I call the shots and so I choose who survives. I'll tie you up in knots when I lock you inside.
Newsflash. I was created at the dawn of creation. I am temptation. I am the snake in Eden. I am the reason for treason, beheading all kings. I am sin, with no rhyme or reason. Son of the morning, Lucifer, Antichrist, father of lies. Mephistophelies, truth in a blender, deceitful pretender, the banished avenger, the righteous surrender. When standing in front of my solar eclipse, my name is stitched to your lips. So you see, I won't bow to the will of a mortal, feeble and normal. You wanna kill me? I'm eternal immortal. I live in every decision that catalyzes chaos, that causes division. I live inside death, the beginning of end. I am you, you are me, I am you, Ren.
Hi, Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself, and I've spent half my life ill. But just as sure as the tide starts turning, just as sure as the night has dawned, just as sure as the rainfall soon runs dry when you stand in an eye of a storm. I was made to be tested and twisted. I was made to be broken and beat. I was made by his hand, it's all part of his plan that I stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And you know me, my will is eternal. And you know me, you've met me before. Face to face with a beast, I will rise from the east and I'll settle on the ocean floor. And I go by many names also. Some people know me as hope. Some people know me as the voice that you hear when you loosen the noose on the rope. And you know how I know that I'll prosper? Cause I stand here beside you today. I have stood in the flames that cremated my brain, and I didn't once flinch or shake. So cower at the man I've become when I sing from the top of my lungs. That I won't retire, I'll stand in your fire, inspire that me to be strong. And when I am gone, I will rise in the music that I left behind. Ferocious, persistent, immortal like you, we're a climate different side.
When I was 17 years old, I shouted out into an empty room, into a blank canvas that I would defeat the forces of evil. And for the next 10 years of my life, I suffered the consequences, with autoimmunity, illness, and psychosis. As I got older, I realized there were no real winners and there were no real losers in psychological warfare. But there were victims and there were students. It wasn't David versus Goliath. It was a pendulum, eternally swaying from the dark to the light. And the more intensely that the light shone, the darker the shadow it cast.
Let me just think about all that for a second. So I actually haven't seen this kind of expression before where someone goes from music to spoken word poetry, but I really like it. And I think it's a great kind of opportunity to share your story. This is a very moving song. So it sounds he's talking about autoimmunity and psychosis. That is very interesting. Whenever we diagnose someone with a first episode of psychosis, we have to do what's called an organic workup to make sure that it that the cause of someone's psychosis isn't like an autoimmune condition. So we actually test antibodies that we know target neurons to make sure that it's not an attack on someone's brain causing what looks like a psychosis. But yes, quite rarely you can get what's called an autoimmune encephalitis, where someone's own immune system targets their own neurons, damages their own neurons, which results in a change in behavior that is psychosis. This can be a good thing because sometimes you can treat the autoimmune condition, but sometimes it can be very disabling. The sick irony of it all is sometimes you have to treat autoimmune conditions with prednisone, which is a steroid which can induce psychosis. So sometimes the treatment can be an inducer of psychosis. So, I mean, the treatment is very challenging, and I guess that's why you have to be an immunologist to treat it, because you need to really know your stuff. It's interesting to hear his perspective around that there are no winners or losers, but there are victims. I do see kind of schizophrenia and illness as one of the most unjust things in the world. You know, I do find that there are the deep injustice and unfairness of nature to burden people with such horrid illness for very no benefit really. Like a real schizophrenia with like horribly disabling symptoms is so disabling, and that's why I choose to spend my life fighting it.
It was never really a battle for me to win. It was an eternal dance. And like a dance, the more rigid I became, the harder it got. The more I cursed my clumsy footsteps, the more I struggled. So I got older, and I learned to relax, and I learned to soften, and that dance got easier. It is this eternal dance that separates human beings from angels, from demons, from gods. And I must not forget, we must not forget, that we are human beings.
I love that analogy of the eternal dance. I mean, such a common problem I have in my job in discussing with patients with mental illness is around insight and acceptance of mental illness. And the idea that they don't have to take the medicines for the rest of their life, and it's a very common point of education. But this idea of an eternal dance, where softening into it, where having a form of acceptance but not tolerance, and acceptance but also wanting to always achieve recovery is the balance to achieve. I love that. I'm going to be using that. I love how these reaction videos actually change my practice. I'm going to be using that language, an eternal dance, where the stiffer you become, the harder it is to respond to, a relapse in mental illness. Whereas if you soften and you're accepting and you're open to trying different, treatments, not always medication, by the way, but other treatments, then you can really have an advantage of on the long-term management of the illness. Thank you so much to the people who recommended that video to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a comment down below of what else you'd like me to react to. And if you want to support my channel, the best thing you could do is like and subscribe. Liking the video helps the YouTube algorithm know that it's worth showing to other people, and subscribing is also another way to see my future videos. But yeah, what other music videos should I be watching, guys? Put them in the comments below. I'd love to see it. Other than that, I wish you all a beautiful day full of love, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.